State Security Service invades Central Bank of Nigeria over allegations on the governor of the central bank, Godwin Emefiele. Federal government begins minimum wage review. The National Hajj Commission to receive 5% discount on payment this year. And on the foreign scene, Somalia captures key port town from Al-Shabaab.
This is Freedom Global News.
Good evening, you listen to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. I am Hauwa Adamu Kiyawa. Today is the 16th of January 2023, which is equivalent to the 23rd of Jumada Thani, 1444 after Hijri. And now the news in full. The Department of State Services, DSS, today invaded the headquarters of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, taking over the office of the embattled governor of the Apex Bank, Godwin Emefiele. Daily Nigerian reports that there has been a running battle between the DSS and Emefiele over alleged terrorism financing. The Secret Service had earlier sought out a court order to arrest Emefiele, but has been out of the country for his annual leave, which is expiring tomorrow, January 17th. But the Federal Capital Territory High Court had in December barred the SSS from arresting, inviting, or detaining Emefiele. Arriving at the CBN headquarters at noon today, the DSS operatives came in with about 20 vehicles with armed personnel. According to reports, the operatives also barred all staff of the bank from gaining access to Emefiele's office. Peter Ofunanya, the DSS spokesperson, is yet to respond to the query sent to him. The National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission says it has initiated a process for the review of the national minimum wage. The NSIWC's head of public affairs, Mr. Emmanuel Njoku, said this in a statement on Sunday in Abuja. Njoku said as part of the process to review the minimum wage, which would be due in 2024, the Commission had held a series of meetings and trainings towards a nationwide monitoring of the Minimum Wage Act 2019. He said the monitoring bills to begin on January 20th would help ascertain the compliance level of public and private employers and organizations. According to him, the monitoring team will, among other things, inquire if employers keep adequate records of wage and conditions of service of employees. Njoku said the monitoring team for the exercise would be drawn from key stakeholders, including the Ministry of Labour and Employment and Ministry of Finance and National Planning. Other stakeholders, according to him, are Head of Service of the Federation, Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, Budget Office of the Federation, and National Bureau of Statistics. On the sporting arena, Kano State Sports Commission has approved the reappointment of Emir of Kano Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero as the chairman of the State Basketball Association. Mohammed San Uba has details of this and other sports updates.
The executive chairman of Kano State Sport Commissioner Alhaji Ibrahim Galadima stated this while announcing the disbandment of players of Kano Pillars basketball team in his office. Ibrahim Galadima explained that the reconstitution of the association board became necessary following the dwindling outings of the team. The chairman explained that the board, alongside other associations which had been dissolved in 2021, deemed it necessary to reconstitute the basketball board and repositioning the team. Galadima charged the new association board, led by Emir of Kano Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero, to recruit fresh players with the view to move the game forward. Former captain of national basketball team and one-time vice president of Nigeria Basketball Federation, Alhaji Adamu Kiyawa, is the vice chairman, while ex-international and former permanent secretary, Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Mustafa Lawan Suleiman, former state director of land, Aminu Jafar, Rabi Abdu Sharif, and former secretary of the State Handball Association, Usman Yahaya, were members. Other members survivors are former basketball veteran Bashir Chedi, Ado Wayo, Umar Bala, and Abdullahi Rano. Meanwhile, the Minister of Youth and Sport Development Sunday Dari and the immediate past president of the Confederation of African Athletes CCA Region 2, Engineer Ibrahim Shehu Gusau, have congratulated the new elected executives of the region for emerging victorious at the elective congress held in Accra, Ghana over the weekend. President of the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, Tanobo Okowa, emerged as president of CCA Region 2 after defeating his Benin Republic counterpart, Digon Verin, in the second round 9-6. Dari expressed his delight at the victory of the Delta State Born Sport Administrator, saying it comes as good news to Nigeria. In another update, Shakhtar Donetsk president Rinat Akhmetov has failed to donate 22 million euro to the Ukrainian war effort following the transfer of Michael Mudryk to Chelsea. The Premier League side signed Mudryk from Shakhtar yesterday in a deal worth up to 89 million euro, a transfer record for Ukrainian football. In tennis, Emma Raducanu made a positive return to the court after her injury scare, moving into the second round of the Australian Open with a straight-set win. On the opening day in Melbourne, the British number one won 6-3, 6-2 against Germany's Tamara Kopacz. Muhammad Sani Uba, Freedom Radio.
The Global News is coming to you from Freedom Radio 99.5 FM. You can send your comments, opinions, and watch us live on Freedom Radio Nigeria on Facebook.com. You can get the link to the page on our website, freedomradioenergy.com, or call us through this number, 082 444163. Welcome back. You're still listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, and the private company of African Non-Arabs has signed agreement on services to be provided during the 2023 Hajj. This was contained in a press release issued by NACON Assistant Director, Information and Publications, Musa Obandawaki, today. It said one of the major highlights of the meeting was the commitment made by the Muassasa to upgrade the feeding and catering services of the Bashir, and with the grant of 5% discount on payment this year, meaning that Nigeria will pay less of what was charged last year. The pacts were signed by the chairman Nakon and Haji Zikrullah Kunli Hassan and the chairman of private company Ahmed Sandi. The agreement is part of the preparations for this year's Hajj, which is due in late June and is a follow-up to the earlier meeting held between the two teams on Thursday at Superdome Center, Jeddah, on the sideline of the Hajj and Umrah Expo 2023. The pact focuses on the roles expected of the two parties during the Hajj. It also covers the services to be provided to the pilgrims in the areas of enlightenment, guidance, movements, transportation, especially during the Mashayir. And on business, we have Muhammad Abba Abdullahi with updates.
The World Bank said that technical problems, insecurity, raising production cost, theft, lack of payment discipline in joint ventures, and so on were responsible for the 40% decline of Nigeria's oil production last year. The Afex Bank said in its January Global Economic Prospects report that the falling, when compared to its 2019 level, lowered economic growth to 3.1% from 3.6% the prior year. The World Bank also projected that the country's growth will decelerate to 2.9% in 2023 and 2024. According to the bank, the fiscal position is expected to remain weak because of high borrowing cost, lower energy prices, a sluggish growth of oil production, and a subdued activity in the non-oil sectors. Meanwhile, the removal of fuel subsidy will unlock a minimum of 6 trillion naira in revenue into the Federation account annually. This was disclosed by the economic think tank, the Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprises, CPPE. According to the report entitled Tweaking the 2023 Finance Bill and Options for Unlocking Revenues in 2023, the director of CPPE, Dr. Muda Yusuf, noted that the Nigerian economy is heavily burdened and encumbered by two major subsidy regimes, the fuel subsidy regime and the foreign exchange subsidy regime. He added that the huge sums of revenue can be unlocked from these subsidy regimes if appropriate reforms are implemented. Muhammad Abba Abdullahi, Freedom Radio.
For tomorrow's weather forecast in some cities in Nigeria and part of Niger Republic, here's the report.
Kano Tomorrow morning is expected to have a clear sky and light wind at an average temperature of 12 degrees Celsius and later increase to 26 degrees Celsius with sunny and moderate breeze. Kaduna will experience a clear sky and gentle breeze at 16 degrees Celsius and later increase to 29 degrees Celsius with sunny and moderate breeze. Katsina is expected to have a clear sky and light wind at an average temperature of 14 degrees Celsius and later increase to 26 degrees Celsius with sunny and moderate breeze. Abuja will be partly cloudy to have a light wind at 19 degrees Celsius and later increase to 33 degrees Celsius with sunny intervals and light winds. Lagos is expected to have a clear sky and light wind at 24 degrees Celsius and later increase to 33 Celsius with sunny and light winds. Moving to Niger Republic, Maradi is expected to have a clear sky and gentle breeze with an average temperature of 14 degrees Celsius and later increase to 27 degrees Celsius with sunny and moderate breeze. Zender will experience a clear sky and gentle breeze at 16 degrees Celsius and later increase to 27 degrees Celsius with sunny intervals and moderate breeze. Ahmad Hayatu, Freedom Radio.
And on the foreign scene, Somalia's defense minister said today that Somalia's government-led forces have captured an Al-Shabaab stronghold on the Indian Ocean in one of their most significant victories since launching an offensive against the group last year. Defense Minister Abdul Qadir Muhammad Noor said in a broadcast on state-owned television that forces took the port town of Haradri and the nearby town of Galkad. Haradri was a major base for pirates hijacking merchant ships until 2011, and it was later taken over by Al-Shabaab, which first rose up against the government in 2007 before pledging its allegiance to Al-Qaeda. Noor said Haradri and Galkad districts have been taken from the hands of the Al-Shabaab terrorists, which means Al-Shabaab is overpowered and gone. He said the remaining towns will also be liberated soon. Al-Shabaab spokespeople could not immediately be reached for any comment. The government and allied clan militia have forced the rebels from swaths of territory in central Somalia since launching a major offensive last August. The successes have led some officials to claim Al-Shabaab is on its last legs. However, experts have cautioned that the group has been pushed out of major towns before only to regroup and reclaim areas that army does not have the capacity to hold. And with this, we've come to the end of today's global news, but before we go, highlights of the major stories. The Department of State Services DSS today invaded the headquarters of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, taking over the office of the embattled governor of the Apex Bank, Godwin Emefiele. The National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission says it has initiated a process for the review of the national minimum wage.
Global News.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, and the private company of African Known Arabs had signed agreement on services to be provided during the 2023 Hajj. Another foreign scene, Somalia's defense minister said today that the government-led forces have captured an Al-Shabaab stronghold on the Indian Ocean in one of their most significant victories since launching an offensive against the group last year. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Hauwa Adamu Kiyawa. Have a wonderful evening.
Freedom. Pop.